I rented this apartment on a whim. Too much of a whim, really. After another breakdown and nearly a month crashing on a friend's couch, I just signed the lease with the first landlord who didn't ask for proof of income. Old building, peeling walls, flickering hallway light straight out of a horror movie, but cheap. Most importantly, I'd be alone. No roommates, no voices through the walls. The apartment itself? Nothing special. One room, tiny kitchen, narrow hallway, and a bathroom. And in that bathroom, a huge mirror above the sink stretching almost wall to wall. At first, I even thought it was kind of stylish. Like a worn-out hotel touch. I didn't really think about it during the first week. Work, exhaustion, survival mode. I never looked in the mirror longer than a second. Then came the first time. It was a Sunday evening. I came home, head buzzing, mood flat. Turned on the tap, splashed water on my face, looked up and froze. I was smiling. My reflection. Just a little. Barely noticeable. But still smiling. I wasn't. I know that for a fact. I felt my face. Tired. Grim. Tight jaw. But in the mirror, the corners of my mouth were slightly raised. As if it knew something I didn't. I blinked and it was gone. Back to normal. My face was my face again. I told myself it was just fatigue. A trick of the brain. Lighting. Imagination. But a few days later, it happened again. This time in the morning. I was brushing my teeth, zoned out. I looked up, I was wearing a gray t-shirt. But I put on a dark blue one. I looked down. Checked my sleeves. Blue. In the mirror, still gray. Then, in an instant, everything synced up. Blue in the mirror, too. These little mismatches kept piling up. One time, I looked into the mirror and saw my hand still up even though I'd already lowered it. Another time, the eyes in the reflection weren't quite aligned with mine. Like it wasn't mirroring me, but watching. I realized I was starting to fear the mirror. I began washing my face without looking up. Brushing my teeth while staring at the floor. When I cleaned the mirror, I did it fast, without focus. And yet I kept catching movements from the corner of my eye. Tiny things. Like someone mimicking me. Very closely. Almost perfectly. Almost. And the strangest thing? The less I looked, the more I felt the mirror was waiting. Waiting for me to come back. To really look. To stay a little longer. I started seeing it more often. Not every time. Sometimes the reflection was fine, perfectly synced, normal. But then something tiny would happen again and I'd spiral all over. One evening I washed my hands and looked up quickly. The reflection blinked a moment too late. I saw it clearly. And right after, back to normal. Movement matched. Timing perfect. But I no longer believed it. This wasn't exhaustion. It wasn't eye strain. It wasn't my mind filling in blanks. The mirror was lying. So I tried experimenting. I'd move my hand quickly, trying to catch a delay. Sometimes there was nothing. But sometimes, I swear, the reflection would lag, just slightly. Once, I turned away then quickly looked over my shoulder and the reflection was already staring straight at me. As if it knew what I was doing. I got scared. I bought thick, opaque fabric and covered the mirror. Taped it down with duct tape. For the first time in days, I could breathe. But the peace didn't last. A few nights later, I woke up to something. Some stillness. Heavy and charged. Like the apartment itself was holding its breath. I went to the kitchen to grab water. As I passed the bathroom, I noticed the cloth had slipped. Just slightly. As if someone had carefully peeled it back from the top. I stood there in the dark, staring. And in the mirror, it stared back. Same pose. Same me. But something was off. The head tilted just a little too much. A faint curl in the lip. Eyes slightly too wide. I froze. The reflection didn't. And when I finally stepped back, I saw it there. It took a second longer to move. The next morning, I covered the mirror again. More tape. A board over the top. I locked the bathroom door. Started using the kitchen sink for everything. But still. I could feel it. Like it was watching, even through the wall. I noticed more things. The bathroom air felt colder. When I passed by, I'd sometimes hear a faint cough, not loud, not clear, just there. Faint and human. And the worst part? I started waking up inside the mirror. I mean, I'd open my eyes and for a moment I'd see myself from the other side. As if I were the reflection. As if someone else was looking out. Those moments pass quickly. But I know one thing for sure now. It's getting bolder. And this is only the beginning. I started locking the bathroom door not just at night, but during the day too. Passing by it quickly. Never pausing. Looking only in glimpses. But the fear kept growing even when I pretended it wasn't there. Sometimes I'd sit in the living room and feel movement behind the wall. Slow. Careful. Like something breathing just out of sync with me. Like the reflection had its own life now. And I made a mistake. I decided to record it. Don't ask me why. Maybe I wanted to prove to myself that I wasn't crazy. Or maybe, deep down, I wanted to know what I was dealing with. I set my phone on the sink, aimed it at the mirror, and hit record. Then I stood in front of it. For a few minutes, I moved my arms, waved, spoke aloud. Are you real? Are you copying me? Nothing strange happened. The reflection moved exactly like me. I stopped recording and walked away. The whole time, it felt like something had woken up. A few hours later, I reviewed the footage. For the first 3 minutes, everything was normal. I moved, it moved. Perfect sync. But at 3 minutes, 28 seconds, I left the frame. And the reflection stayed. It stood still. Same posture. My face. But I was gone. And then, slowly, it turned its head toward the camera. Looked straight into it. Straight at me. I shut off the video. Deleted it. Cleared the trash. Factory reset the phone. But even then, I felt like it knew I saw it. After that, the mirror stopped pretending. One evening, I looked up while washing my hands, and the reflection was already staring at me. Not copying. Not reacting. Just watching. Standing closer than I was. Its breath seemed to fog up the inside of the mirror. And then it smiled. I didn't move. Neither did it. But its smile grew wider. Unnaturally so. Almost painful. As if it wanted to remind me. You let me exist. And now, I'm here. I ripped down the cloth, covered it again. This time with wood and duct tape. I locked the door. Stopped going in at all. Washed at work. Brushed my teeth at the kitchen sink. But that night I woke up. And I heard a voice. Faint. Raspy. Like it was coming through a wall of water. And it said, "You forgot which of us was real first." I tried not to think. Not to analyze. Not to wonder if I was dreaming or losing my mind. Just live. Act normal. But the reflection, it didn't need me anymore. It started doing things on its own. I realized this the morning I walked past the bathroom, just walked by and heard a knock from inside. One. Pause. Another. Timed perfectly with my footsteps. I froze. My heart climbed into my throat. Then a third knock. This time before I took a step. Like it was leading me. I stopped going near it. I washed at work. Brushed my teeth with bottled water in the kitchen. The bathroom became a zone I avoided like it was toxic. But the mirror was reaching out. I started catching it in other surfaces. The black screen of my laptop. The microwave door. The window at night. I no longer saw myself. I saw it. Sometimes when I sat completely still, the reflection would move. Just a twitch. A slight nod. A tilt of the head. One night, I stood in the kitchen eating dry pasta straight from the pot. And I saw something in the microwave reflection. My face. But with eyes too dark. Too deep. I turned and saw the bathroom door slightly ajar. The cloth I'd taped up slipped. About half an inch. As if someone had gently peeled it back again. I stood there frozen. Spoon still in hand. And then came the voice again. Not loud. Not angry. Calm. Certain. It said, "You're curious, aren't you? Which one of us was real first?" I screamed. I snapped. I threw a chair. Almost ran out the door, but I couldn't. My legs wouldn't move. It wasn't physical. It was psychological. Like I'd already been absorbed. Like I was just an echo who'd forgotten I was supposed to be on the inside. I started noticing the mirror wasn't limited to the bathroom anymore. Before, it stayed there. Behind the door. Behind the glass. Now it was everywhere. In the blank TV screen. In the water puddle on the table. In the glass microwave door. Even in the window at night. Every reflection felt like a portal. And it was always looking back at me. Sometimes, the reflection didn't match the angle I stood at. I'd sit in my chair, but the reflection would show me standing. I'd be alone, but in the glass, someone was moving behind me. Once, I saw the room in the reflection from a completely impossible angle. Like from a security camera mounted high in the corner. I could see myself from above. Still. Watching. Blank. I stopped turning on lights. Stopped sleeping at night. I'm writing this now because something major happened. I woke up, but I wasn't in my bed. It was my room, yeah. Same walls. Same air. But just off. Wallpaper slightly darker. The floor creaked at the wrong spot, and in the mirror I saw myself asleep. I was sitting on the bathroom floor, staring at myself in bed. And then I stood up. I mean, my body. But not me. It rose slowly, turned its head, and looked directly at me. The one who should have been the reflection was now moving around in the apartment. And his movements were natural. Human. Mine weren't. I tried to scream, but nothing came out. My body didn't respond. It felt like I was now the reflection and he was the real one. He stepped closer to the mirror, placed his forehead gently against the glass, and whispered, "Now you're the one on my side." I don't know how long I was in there, inside the mirror. Sometimes I'd fall asleep and dream I was trapped behind the glass, trying to press against the surface, but it was cold, solid, like ice. Other times I'd wake up thinking everything was back to normal, that I was back in my own body. But something always felt wrong. My movements just a little delayed. My voice echoing oddly in the room. My shadow not where it should be. I no longer knew who was real. Me, the one inside? Or the one now walking around, answering calls, going to the store? I made a decision. I was going to leave. It wasn't easy. Some part of me didn't want to. But I packed my things. Called a cab. Left almost everything behind, mirror, furniture, dishes, all of it. As I stood downstairs with my suitcase, the driver waiting at the curb, I turned back for one last look. And saw the bathroom light on. I knew I'd turned it off. I went back up. Slowly. I don't even know why. The door wasn't locked. I stepped in. Everything was quiet. Normal. Too normal. The kind of normal that screams, wrong. And in the bathroom, the mirror was completely uncovered. No cloth. No tape. No wood panel. As if I'd never sealed it at all. In the mirror, me. Standing there. Looking. But not copying. I blinked, the reflection didn't. I tilted my head, it stayed still. It stared at me with something like pity. Like it knew I wasn't supposed to be out here. Like I had never really left. I stepped closer. So did it. I leaned in. So did it. And then it raised its hand. Before I did, it touched the glass first. And the surface wasn't glass. It was soft. Wet. Cold. Like stepping into someone's memory. The last thing I saw was myself. Smiling from the other side. This morning, the neighbors said they saw me take out the trash. Greet the concierge. Order delivery. But I haven't left the mirror. I stand behind it. I watch. I hear someone living my life. Sometimes he walks past. Sometimes he looks at me. And when he does, I smile. And I whisper. Your turn to be the reflection. Thank you for getting closer.